How are we doing, guys? Oh, so exciting to see you guys, and it's gonna be a good day. You guys have such a big treat for you today. Today we have Andrew Smith, who's the managing partner and co-founder of the Savory Fund, and he manages over $750 million and works with a lot of your favorite brands, whether that be Swig, Mo Betta's, and so many other restaurants. We're so glad to have him here. So take down your notes, take every second of this to absorb it. He has such good wisdom, and he's helped us today. Already just learned so much about these industries and what it means to be a good entrepreneur. So big round of applause for Andrew Smith.
Everybody should sign up for that thing. Everyone should be there. If you're not, you're a loser. You got to go to that opening social. When you go to school like this is your job when you're here as a student, to attend everything, open your mouth, sit next to someone you don't know, because you never know what's going to come out of that. So that's my order to you. And I'm done tonight. Thank you. Whenever I sit in a presentation from anybody, still to this day, I'm a little older than you guys, I always sit there and I think, who's this person? Why am I here? Is it going to be worth my time? I'm sure that all of you guys had much better things to do this next hour. So I'm going to make it worth your time, I hope, by sharing a few things tonight that I hope that you'll sit there and think, how can I apply that to my life and to my business career, to my career in general, and to my relationships? And I want you to think about how to implement them. Because as I sit with other people that have gone before me and done it, I do the same thing, and that's probably one of the best things you can do. I can learn something from all of you, and tonight hopefully you'll learn something from me. But whenever I sit in front of a group and I think, who's this person, or who's this guy, or who's this woman, they don't really go into their background, and they just start jumping into things, and I'm like, well, why does this person have the credibility to tell me any of this stuff? So the only reason I'm going to tell you my life story, and it's going to take 7 hours, so just make sure you guys pay attention. But as I go into it tonight, I tell you just so that you understand, oh, I can see why he's explaining that now, because he's actually experienced it. I didn't read a book about it. I experienced it, and that's a big difference. So this is who I am. First of all, born in Chicago. Who's been to Chicago? Yes, look how many people. It's the coolest city on the planet, isn't it? People say New York, I'm like, what? Chicago's beautiful. If you haven't been to Chicago, you didn't raise your hand, pack up your bags this spring when the semester's over, go to Chicago. It's amazing. I grew up in the North Shore right here. It's called Evanston. I lived like 2 minutes away from the Cubs Stadium. So I went to the Cubby games like all the time. But it was the coolest city to live in. When I was there, it was the 80s and 90s. You weren't born yet, but it was cool then. And there's a guy right in the middle. Everybody knows that. You didn't have to be born for that, right? I mean, Jordan was legit. I actually watched that guy play in the stadium. And right there where he's holding up his three, that was the third time they won the championship. It was the three-peat. It was an unbelievable time. The city was just erupting with the Bears, with the Bears team just doing unbelievably well. The Hawks. Now we have Utah Hockey Club here. People are like, hockey's so cool. I'm like, yeah, it was cool like 40 years ago too. And then you have the Cubs too. It was just a great city to live in. I went on an LDS mission a long time ago, but I went on an LDS mission to the Dominican Republic. Amazing place. I speak Dominican. Que lo que hay? Te caché. But great place. Been back several times, but just learned a ton there. Tonight's not about that, though. My partner in crime, my wife, is Shauna. Yes, she's beautiful. But I married her a long time ago. We're on our 26th anniversary here in a month. We made it. Yes, 26 years. Now here's the story. I met her on a double date with the girl I thought I was going to marry. And I went on a date with her and my ex-companion. It was their first date. And she was thinking what I was thinking, and that was, why is she with that loser? And she was thinking, she's taken. Well, she did something that I thought was super cool, and that is she called my apartment one night, and she said, hey, this is Shauna. I'm like, hey, what's up, Shauna? And I thought she was calling my roommate, which was my ex-companion. And I said, let me get Joey for you. She's like, no, I'm calling for you. I'm like, what? She says, yeah, I was calling to find out when you're going to ask me out. And I'm like, right now. So I took her out. We went out that night, talked for 6 hours, broke up with my girlfriend 3 days later. I married her. So don't worry, she's married too. She's happy. But that's how it works. So girls, If you want to date with a guy, call him up and say that. And if she was standing right here, she wanted to actually come tonight and just be in the audience with you guys, because we like each other. But she would tell you, muster up the courage. She goes, I am not courageous like that. She goes, I mustered up 5 seconds of courage, and it changed her life. So there you are. She's from a little town called Dothan, Alabama. It's a little different than Chicago. Dothan back there? What the heck? That's amazing. I've never actually been in one where people are like, Dothan. So the first time I went to Dothan, so I'm from Chicago, I remember pulling up to the family farm. There's 1,000 acres. Chickens, cows, okra, all this stuff. And I'm like, we are not in Chicago. And I remember getting out of the car, and her grandpa was on the porch playing spoons. And I'm like, I thought that was a joke. Like, people actually play spoons down there in like a banjo? And I'm like, that's my family now. So that's who my family is. I was just back in Dothan like 3 weeks ago, and I actually love it now because I love my family, but it is a different place. That's like the moon, and Chicago's like Earth, just so you guys know. This is my family. I have 2 boys. Tobin on the right, he's in Sao Paulo, Brazil right now, serving a mission. He was here like 8 months ago, before he went on his mission with recruiters, because he wants to play football here. He played at Sky Ridge. We beat Corner Canyon 2 years ago. We lost last year, so that sucks. And his best friend was McKay Hillstead, and he played for your team here just a bit ago. But, and then my son Christian, married. I never knew how cool it was to have a girl. Girls are dope. Like, they're so cool. Like, I'm so excited to have a daughter. I actually think I like her more than Christian, my son. But, and then my wife. But this is them saying cheers to you guys. Good luck this year. We're actually pretty funny. We actually enjoy each other, and it's a lot of fun. But I'm not an empty nester now. Like, it's really boring. Like, I love my wife, but it's kind of boring. So I wish they were back. But that's my family. And I'm an entrepreneur. And I think I'm still loading. Like, I'm still trying to figure it out 30 years later, right? 28 years later. It's always being figured out. You never got it figured out when you're an entrepreneur. And I'm going to kind of go through my entrepreneurial journey and teach you some things that hopefully you'll write down. And if you don't have pen and paper, like old school pen and paper, get your phone out, write it on a note. Guys, there's like plenty of seats. Like, come sit down and like get to know your neighbor. But either way, entrepreneurship is something that you're always figuring out. It's never fully loaded. My first business was a dollar store. How dope is that, huh? No, it was actually not that cool. But I tried it because I had a cousin that said, hey, you want to do this dollar store with me? And I was like in college, and I was like, yeah, it's cool, let's do it. So I threw up a dollar store, and like a year and a half later, a larger dollar store company came to us and said, hey, we want to buy you out. I'm like, what does that mean? And they're like, well, we'll buy it for this much, and you'll make this much. I'm like, $125,000 sounds great. So I made $125,000 on my first business entrepreneurship on a dollar store. Who would have thought? And I thought I was rich. I thought I was Mark Zuckerberg, even though he didn't exist either then. But I thought I was done. But I wasn't done. But I was actually in my apartment going to school, and I was watching TV. And back in the day, that's what a TV looked like. So don't make jokes. It wasn't flat screen. It wasn't like a Samsung. It was like this big tube. But we were watching TV as roommates, and this commercial showed. Kind of gives me chills because that was the commercial. That was it. That was a long time ago, in the 90s. They came out with this new Jaguar X-Type, and my roommate, I want to keep saying companion, but my roommate, he was a computer engineer. He said, hey, Andrew, you're a business major. How much do you think it costs to do that commercial? I'm like, you mean to produce it? He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, in my marketing class, it would probably be $400,000, $500,000, $600,000. He's like, wow, that's amazing. What would it be to put that on the internet? And I'm like, that would be dope. So just so you understand, transport yourself in this world that, imagine the internet didn't exist, because this is 1998, 1996-ish is when Al Gore started it, right? I'm just kidding. Nobody else understands that, but Al Gore started it in 1996. But the streaming media world had not started yet. My phone was like a flip phone. It was like a Motorola. You went like this. I thought it was so cool. It was like, what's up? And there's no streaming on that either. But he said, and I didn't even know what streaming the word was. But he's like, I'm going to see if I can put that on the internet. I'm like, yeah, that'd be dope. 2 months later, comes home from class, opens up his laptop that was like this thick, and he says, hey, I think I figured it out, and showed that commercial on the internet. And I'm like, what? Blew my brains out. And I said, how did you do that? And he explained it. He built this code base called a codec, and he said, I think I figured out how to put video on the internet. So I said, well, that's dope. And he's like, what do we do? I'm like, well, naturally, you call Jaguar. So what did I do as a business major that had no idea? I'm like, I'm an entrepreneur. So I picked up the phone, and I started calling every number I could at Jaguar USA, nonstop. I think I called them 400 times, until I finally got someone to pick up the phone, and I said, I've got something you've got to see. Let me send it over to you. So I sent him a link. I could hear on the phone. By the way, the phone had like a cord to the wall. And I could hear it playing. And this marketing associate said, wait, what is this? I'm like, well, it's your commercial on the internet. Well, I know what I'm looking at, but how'd you do it? I'm like, can't tell you. And they said, let's get back to you. Like literally an hour later, they called. They had the director of, or the CMO marketing. And they said, hey, what is it going to cost to buy this? And I'm like, oh crap, I don't even know what they're asking. So I said, I don't know, I mean, I sold my dollar store for 125, right? So I'm like, 150? And they're like, great, how many times do we get to use it? And I'm like, wait, that's just to use it? And they're like, yeah, just use it. I'm like, sold, let's go ahead and do that. $150,000, and I landed my first client, Jaguar USA. I didn't even have a business. I didn't have an entity. I didn't have a bank account. I had nothing. And I had a client with Jaguar, $150,000. How crazy is that? So now I'm freaking out. What do? I go to my business professors and say, okay, so here's a little story. And they said, calm down, we'll help you. And so they did, they helped me. What did I do? I started a company, and it was called Capture Quest. It was the quest to capture people's attention. And what I did is I surrounded myself, this right here on the left, he was the coder, Dan Harmon, he was amazing. But I surrounded myself with a bunch of people that looked smarter than me, had more gray hair or less hair. And I said, how do we do this? And so I set up a board of directors and said, can you help me? And we set up this business. I went out and started presenting this idea and this contract to venture capitalists. I raised $3 million, and then I was like, whoa, what am I doing? And it just kept snowballing and snowballing. So what did we do? Well, what you naturally do. We went and made a BMW commercial, signed them. Mercedes signed them, Citibank signed them, American Express signed them. Everything we did, we just took their commercials, showed it to them, and they signed up. So the business was growing like this, right? Well, this is right in about the 2000, 2001 times. What happened in 2001? There's this thing called the dot-com bubble, right? You guys maybe have read about it or heard about it, but it was cataclysmic. The textiles of Earth moved when the dot-com bubble popped. What happened is that you had a bunch of businesses that didn't really have any business to be a business. They called it vaporware, right? Didn't really have anything, but they had a good sales engine. And people just started catching on to like, these are overvalued companies that don't really have any purpose to exist. And they started shuttering left and right within like a 2-month period of time. Market crashed, everything blew up. We survived. Why did we survive? Because we actually had clients paying money for an actual product. So the one lesson I want you guys to think is build a business that actually can withstand the test of time, right? Give something of value to your client. If you do, you'll make it through the biggest cataclysmic shifts in the world. And so we survived the dot-com bubble, and I actually sold the company. And when we sold the company, we sold it and we combined actually with another company. Now, it wasn't the billion-dollar sale that we wanted, but it was a really good sale for me at 26 years old. And we were public. When I was public at 26, I realized that I didn't love being public. I liked the entrepreneurship journey. And so what I did is I left there and I gave some of my money to a wealth manager. And the wealth manager that I was working with, I said, can you show me, wealth manager, I said, can you show me, you know, different things about my money and how this is working, that, and they said, no. I'm like, why not? And they said, well, we don't have technology that does that. I'm like, that's dumb. So I went and got one of my technologists, hired him away, and I built a software and I sold it to my real estate investment advisor. And then I went and sold it to a bunch of others too. And then I had one in Michigan 2 years later call me and say, we don't want anybody else to own this. I'm like, well, that's not your decision. And they said, well, what if we buy it? I'm like, name your price. Sold. Took that one. Took that money, I'm just showing you that this is how entrepreneurship can sometimes happen. And I went and built, at the time, the home of my dreams with my wife. And I built this beautiful home, great builder. And we go in and I'm looking for something. I'm like, hey, where do I find the manual for this product? And he's like, well, it's in this drawer. You go in there, and I opened it up, and it was all smashed in there, use care manuals, and all of the paint colors were in extra, gallon buckets down in the utility closet. And I'm like, this is so dumb. I spent a couple $1 million on a house, and my house is in shambles as far as information. That's stupid. That can be changed. So I hired a couple of my developers. They kind of just kept coming with me. And we developed a system called Access Point that brought builders and homeowners together. And I set up another company. And I built a system for builders. Everyone from Donald Trump, he was my client, with all of his towers that he built, all the way down to local home builders. We had 2,800 home builders, and I raised over $25 million in private equity money. Just because I saw an opportunity, I'm like, that's stupid. It can be done better, and I'm going to do it because nobody else is. So that's how ideas come to be, just so everybody understands, right? So the reasons why I tell you those things, and that, yes, that is me, just a little less hair. But at the time, my wife was the mother of my 2 boys. They were toddlers. They were in school at the time. And she came to me and she's like, listen, you're crushing it in business and stuff, and I've been here supporting you, and she was. She was the best partner and corporate support, a corporate wife supporter that I could have. And when anybody always, just so you don't have to ask this question when we go to Q&A, because I'll get questions like, what's the number one thing you would say has been led to your success? And it would be her. And I'm not saying that because she's my wife. I'm saying having a good partner that supports you is important. Having your +1, your spouse, your significant other, support you in what you do is critical to be a successful business person and or entrepreneur, okay? Or successful in your career. She came to me and she said, I've supported you all these years. You're crushing it. I'd like to do something on my own. I said, great. What would you like to do? And she's like, well, I'd like to open a restaurant. And I was like, oh my, this is the stupidest idea. And they never make money, and they all fail, and you're going to work forever. But ladies, you'd be proud because I said, I think it's a great idea. And I would love to support you in that. Even though I was fighting back those feelings of saying, can't we think of something better? Because I was this high and mighty tech guy, I was like, I'm crushing it. But I wanted to support her. So as you would naturally do, in 2007, I went and bought a piece of land. And I said, what do you want to put on it? And she's like, I want to put a Kneaders Bakery and Cafe. At the time, there was 5 of them. 10 years, there was 5 of them. And I'm like, yeah, Kneaders is dope. Like, let's go talk to the founders. So we went and talked to the founders. They're in Linden, Utah, and sat down with them. I said, hey, we'd like to put one of those Kneaders up in our hometown in Highland, Lehigh. And they said, yeah, we'd love to do it with you. We were thinking about franchising, so yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So we signed the documents. I said, Shawna, let's build you a Kneaders. We built this nice 4,000 square foot building. That went into 2008. And we built this beautiful building, and we were ready to open in September of 2008. And what happened in 2008 in September? The market blew up again. So here I'm at, a tech business. I had gone through the dot-com bubble. It was a very difficult time. Even though we had a success, hard, very hard. Like dark days, I actually cried. Just so you guys know, dudes do cry. So men, if you actually want to be a real man, you cry, you let it out. But I've only cried like 5 times. But so this was like, if you see right here, it was September 30th, 2008. And look at the market. It's just a bloodbath. Banks were failing. I felt like I was living my nightmare again. I'm like, gosh, why does it have to keep happening to me? So now I'm on fire, and I'm like, we're opening up our restaurant on October 3rd. I'm like, freak, we're going to fail. That's going to be a big freaking barn burner as well. And it was crazy because as I was thinking about 2001, the craziness of the dot-com bubble, and then we wrote it up, and then now I have this company. I have all builders across the country, and builders were shutting their doors left and right. My revenues were taking a huge topple. I'm going to open up this Kneaders, and I'm like, this is crazy. You guys want me to show you how you feel when all that's going on? Want me to show you? You laugh. That's how it feels. How does it feel when you look at that? Tumultuous, doesn't it? And then right when you're like, I'm good, then you take another dive. The reason I show you that is because it feels like that. Does it not? It's exciting. Everybody who likes roller coasters in here? Yeah, you all do? Okay, my kids hate them. But it feels like that. Things are good, another fall. Then you're like, things are great. But then you get a corkscrew, and then it's down again. It's never smooth, ever. And even though I knew that, I'm like, this is crazy. Why am I going through this again? That's like so unfair. Because I'm sitting in my office feeling like this nonstop. Pity. Oh my gosh, now I have to fire people. I've got to consolidate. I got to figure out which way is up. I'm having emergency board meetings. I mean, it is crazy. So then I thought about my life and my career up to that point. And I thought, well, it's because I'm in a market that does that. Every market does that. And there's no good time to start a business and or to sell a business. I thought there was always we can time the market perfect, kind of like crypto, right? I'm sure all of you guys buy crypto and are like, I'm going to make millions here. Well, it's a timing thing. But at the end of the day, that just goes to show I could never time the market perfectly. Either buy or sell up or buy or sell down. Don't time markets. When you're an entrepreneur, you just start and then you figure it out. So I'm living this life right here. And I'm like, man, this is tumultuous. We stabilized the business. But as I was stabilizing my business and I'm watching Shauna crush it. She opened up in October and she's crushing it. And I'm like, how's that fair? Like, I'm the business guy. And she was crushing it, going in, high-fiving her employees, giving them kicks. It was like amazing, right? And I'm like, that's not fair. I'm driving past her store every morning, going down to my office of hell, trying to figure out how to make it work. And I'm like, this is not fair. But it was my job, so I figured it out. We stabilized the business, sold it 10 months later. It was a success. And they gave me the option to stay or to leave as president of that new division, this insurance company that bought us. And I'm like, I think I'm tired of that roller coaster ride of this whole tech industry and how correlated it is. When market goes down, tech usually goes down too. And one of the things that I noticed when I went into the restaurant one time, just visiting my wife, is market was still pretty tough, but what was happening around me in that restaurant was this. And I don't even have to have sound. You know what's going on because you can feel it. You can feel when you watch people have a good time. You're breaking bread, you're talking, making an experience out of it. Could be coworkers, could be loved ones, could be your family. And I looked at that and I'm like, nothing can replace that. It doesn't matter if missiles are flying, if LA's burning down, which is horrific. People are still going to do that. Why? Because we got to eat. Even those of you guys that are like intermittent fasting, still got to do it at least 2 times a day, right? So you got to do this no matter what happens in the world. And I liked that stability. Then I'm like, I got to see what's gone on in the world because I've done this. What does it look like in food and beverage? So I did some research. That's actually what's happened in that industry. That looks a little better to me. It doesn't look like a roller coaster. Now, there's little roller coasters in each of those years, but it's an industry that was growing. So I looked at that and I thought, this was 2008, like right here. Like look back 2008 to 92, and I'm like, wow, that's really stable. And you can see what's happened now till now. It's a $1 trillion industry. But I liked that. So I sold my business, called up Shauna, and what did I do? I did not propose to her. I was already married to her. But what I did do is I said, can I please join you? I was just like, can you give me a job? Because I wanted to go try what she was doing. She looked like she was having way more fun than me. And she's like, okay, you can come join me. I'm like, yes, I got a job. So the next day, I go into the restaurant, and I go, okay, what do I start? And she's like, the dish pit. I'm like, uh-huh. She's trying to break me. And I went back there, and 3 hours later, I'm like, oh, my back. And I was like so sore, and I was so tired. I'm like, she's killing me. This is the best experience I've ever had. I actually enjoyed it because in that moment, what I was doing, there was nothing tumultuous about it. Next day came out, what do I do now? She's like, pastries. So I was a pastry chef for like a week. And then I did bread, and then I worked in the kitchen, and then I did the grill on a Saturday morning, doing like that $5 French toast crap. About killed me. Like that's like taking mortar rounds when you're in the kitchen, just so you know. Loved it, and I was just having so much fun. The thing that was even more fun is that we got to the end of that first quarter, 6 months, and I remember looking at the profit and loss statement, the financials, and I told Shauna, I'm like, what the heck is that number right there? And she says, that's called profit. And I'm like, I've never seen profit in my life. Tech companies don't make profit. You just keep losing money and raising money. And I'm like, that is unbelievable. It was a cash flowing business. So I said, we shouldn't just do one of these. I mean, I'm a scale guy. So what we should do is we should do a lot of them. So I said, let's do 2 of them. So we did a second one, and I'm like, let's set a moonshot. Let's do 5 of these. So we did 5 of them, and it just kept going and going to where we set up a little business called 4 Foods Group, and we had a little bit of growth. We just kept building, and we did 15 eaters, 5 states. And then we got involved in this little business called Little Caesars. The founders called me and said, hey, we want to talk to you. And I went out to Detroit, and they talked to me and said, we want you to be part of our business. So I did 87 of those. We just kept growing. And then there's this little business that came and sat down with me and said, oh, what you're doing with these brands, could you help me? And I'm like, sure, I don't really understand this soda crap, but I think I'll buy it. And it was called Swig. And then these 2 cool Hawaiian guys came and met with me and said, I'd love to have your help, and was introduced to them by Crew, and bought into their business, and it was called Mobetas. And we just kept on doing it. That's how it started. It was not planned. It was accidental. And one of the reasons why it was accidental is we didn't even know what we were growing, other than we're going to figure it out as we go. There was no business plan. We still don't have a business plan. We make the plan as we go. So did we have success, Sean and I? In the eyes of the world, absolutely we had success. Why? Because this is what people look at, right? They look at that, you do them, you do these types of things. People don't understand that I do those types of things, not for me, but for the business, the employees, the brand, the company. If you're doing that for any other reason, you're missing the point. But yeah, we had success. But my belief on success is the sentence that's underneath success. What success in my mind is the accomplishment of an aim or a purpose. That's what you should write down. Because if your purpose is something and you accomplish that, you have been successful. Don't put a dollar figure on that. Don't make an aim a dollar figure. Make it as an aim or a purpose. I want to learn X. I want to change Y. I want to help Z. Success should be an aim or purpose, not these things right here. Why? Because that magazine goes in a drawer, and like 3 months later, no one cares. Neither do I. So from the curb looking in, success is that. The other thing that people look at when it's success, and I'm going to show you this for the only reason than to make a point, okay? I do like certain things. I have a fetish for cars. Okay, fetish. It's a problem. But I will tell you this. Every time my wife says, do you have another car on order? And I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm not hurting anybody. I don't have an addiction that's hurting anybody. So she lets me have my addiction. But I have an addiction, and I keep on playing with it. But I do this because I enjoy the craftsmanship, the people that build them, the history, all of that stuff. And I don't care about what people think when I have it. I like it because it was something that I enjoyed. Don't worry, Shauna also got what she wanted, which was faster travel. But she also got horses too. She got 3 horsepower. I got thousands of horsepower. Shauna loves her horses. We actually ride every single Saturday. Can you believe that? Every single Saturday for 10 years we've been riding. I am a cowboy. I know it doesn't look like it. I don't have a hat because it doesn't really look good with my hair, but I do have cowboy boots. So we do horses too. I promise there's a point. I'm pointing all this out. So one of the things I love cars. About 6, 7 years ago, I'm like, you know what a dream I've always had is to race. So naturally, what do? You buy a race car, you go hire a race trainer, and you start training. And then you go and you test and test and test until Porsche Pirelli picks you up, and then you race all around the country with Porsche. That was cool. And believe it or not, this actually fits in a Porsche. But they do have to modify it, and I am jammed in there. Like, there's not one more inch for anything. But I raced all around the country, Porsche, and then Audi, and then Ferrari as well. So it was something I did for many, many years. The reason why I tell you that, actually, who wants to see what it looks like in the cockpit of a race car during a race? Raise your hand. Okay, everybody wants to do it. This is crazy. People think that, the Wild Wild West is on the back of a horse. Check this out. It's not loud enough. It's got to be louder. Oh, that guy flipped and broke some ribs. And then I'm going, I'm good now. And then that guy hits me and almost kills me. And then karma is really a tough thing, because that guy that hit me to get ahead of me, now he blows his tire and he flies off the track. Oh, take care of your neighbors or your tire pops. Bottom line is, it was a lot of fun. It's one of the hardest things physically. I know that that's crazy. I played sports in high school. It's one of the hardest things. I did a 24-hour race once. 24 hours. Think about that. That was challenging. The reason why I point that out is that I was racing, and one of the guys that was in my team, I raced with Domo's CEO and Vivint's CEO and Greg Warnock. He's one of the venture capitalists of our time, probably with the oracle of investing in Utah. He was in my team as well. Jeff Curl with Stant Socks. He used to do Skull Candy as well. So we had this cool team of racers. And in between one of our races, we're sitting there, and they're all asking me, they're like, so Andrew, you know, we're all tech guys. I'm like, yeah, I know. I used to be a tech guy too, and they know that. They're like, can you make any restaurant or money in restaurants? And I love that question, I especially with all my tech friends. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, like what are you going to do next year in revenue? I'm like, I don't know, like 270 million. And they're like, really? Like, yeah. And can you be profitable? I'm like, yeah, we made like $60 million in profit. Well, he heard that. Greg Warnock heard it, pulled me to the side and said, how are you funding these? And I'm like, well, I'm funding them myself. It's called the Bank of Andrew and Shauna. And I take all the risk and sign all the guarantees and all the leases and everything else. Yeah, I'm all in. I'm an entrepreneur. And he said, you know, there's an easier way to do that. I'm like, is there? Nothing's easy in my world. And he said, yeah, why don't you stand up a private equity fund? You have all the experience. You have the team. I'm private equity. And let's raise a private equity fund to fund all of your growth. So it's not just your money. It's family office money and high net worth individuals. Sweet. Let's do that. So we raised $100 million together. And we called it Savory. So we took all of our institutional knowledge and experience, sold Kneaders, sold Caesars, kept Swig, kept Bobetta's, kept R&R Barbecue, and we saved up $100 million from a bunch of our friends, and we said, let's go grow those. And that's what we did. The crazy thing is life was perfect again, right? We're having success, bought some great brands. Via 313 out of Austin, Texas, we bought that. Bought this cool brand called Houston Hot Chicken. And then what happened? The whole world burned up again. What happened in 2020? Was everybody alive that time? Yeah, you guys were all alive. I'm totally kidding. I'm kidding. But this happened. I mean, that's not a joke, that picture. You guys remember this time. It was spooky, right? Like, nobody was out. And in my mind, I thought, remember that chart that I looked at? And it's just like this perfect, stable, industry? Well, it's not possible if you don't have people out. So I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, now my life is again blowing up. All of our restaurants have to close. So we closed them for 24 hours. And people were shuttering businesses everywhere across the country. And I got a call in the morning from Greg, and he said, we're not going to just sit around and watch this happen, are we? I'm like, no, we're not. We're going to get busy. We're going to figure out what we can do to go right into the headwinds, right into the tumultuous sea of figuring this out. Because I'm not going to sit at my desk and do this anymore, because I hate that crap. So I thought about this dude here. Does anybody know who this guy is? I mean, it says his name right there, but you guys know who it is, right? Coach K. He's pretty famous. There was a kid in my neighborhood down in Highland. His name was Franklin Jackson, played at Lone Peak. Then he got recruited, went and played with the Pistons. Now he's playing over in Europe. But he played for this guy. And I said, is the stories true about what he says when you guys are playing a game? And I explained it to him. He goes, yeah, he still does that. And the story goes that as Coach K is coaching his team, and someone, the team goes down there and someone does something, whether they block a shot, make a shot, or screw up, as they're running down the court, it doesn't matter if they did something good or bad. What does he yell to them? Next play, next play, next play. He just keeps repeating into their minds, it doesn't matter what just happened seconds ago. What really matters is your next play. And that's always entered my head. Next play. What is my next play? As in, when I was driving up here today, there's a problem I'm trying to solve within our firm, and I'm like, what's my next play here? What am I going to do next? This is something that will change the way you think and everything you do in your life if you just keep thinking, it doesn't matter what just happened. What's my next play? Get that into your repetition, thinking that. And maybe say it out loud over and over again, because it actually does help. Helps you bust through the, oh my gosh, this sucks. No, what's your next play? What we did is we sat in the room. This is the day after We called it here Rudy Day. You guys remember that, right? Rudy Day, when Rudy got COVID on the Jazz and they shut down the NBA and like the whole world fell apart. This is the day after Rudy Day. We go into the office, we sit around this desk, and we said, what's our next play? What we came up with in our next play was stay safe, eat well, keep our teams working. Obviously, we want everybody safe because there was this deadly illness going around. But we wanted people to eat well because, crazy enough, 67% of America says they rely on a restaurant to stay alive. Like they don't know how to cook ramen. So we knew that there was going to be a need. People were going to want it. They weren't going to just wake up one day and say, well, since there's COVID, I'm just going to intermittent fast for months. They can't do that. They have to eat. So we wanted to still serve them. And we also knew that people going home, because we didn't know anything about the government bailout and the PPP money and everything else that happened at the time, we said, we got to keep our teams working. They depend on a check to take care of their families and their life. So those were our three North Stars. It's so true that that's right on my table. We have a glass table. That's on our table. Be safe, eat well, keep Utah working. So that's what we did. We did so well through COVID that all of our investors saw that, and they re-upped, and they said, here's another $100 million, because we bought 2 more brands during COVID. We opened up 15 restaurants. We closed down nothing, and I hired 4,000 more people during COVID. Now, everybody else would say, well, everybody shuttered, and it was a really hard time, most profitable year ever yet. Why? Because we made the customer feel safe. We still served them. We turned all of our restaurants into makeshift drive-thrus, made it so they could drive up. We would put the food right in the back of their car, not even talk to the guests, anything. We made it all digital. We crushed it. That right there is talking about next play. There's always a way. There's always something different that you can do. Don't get stuck. So now we own 11 brands. We're in 22 states. We've operated 470 restaurants, and we're growing about 70 this year. So that's who we are. That's Savory. That's my run. So as you look at the industry now, 2002, the one thing that's interesting is you see the recessions. Recessions, usually you see a big, huge market swing. It kind of flattens out. Then you hit another recession. Flattens out, doesn't grow, but then it grew. Yeah, it was a sharp decline, but look at how quick it rebounded. Like in 1.5 years, the market rebounded to where it's even more healthy than ever before. And we never felt that. We just cataclysmic growth over that. It was unbelievable. So that's Savory, and we're across these states. By the numbers, this is something I want you guys to see because it's massive, and the 2 last ones are the ones I'm most excited about, and it's what drives me today, and that's what I'm going to talk about next. 1, raised over $400 million. 2, $2.5 billion in sales. 3, $404 million profit. More profitable than most businesses. $350 million in real estate. We buy land, build real estate. $670 million in wages paid. That's one I'm pretty proud of. And I've created 40,000 jobs. That's got to be something that drives people, because it drives me. That's the purpose. All of the money stuff above it is a byproduct of what my drive is. When I sat down with my team this year, it's like, how many are we going to open? We're going to open 75 restaurants. How many people are we going to hire? Not asking how much we're going to make and how much we're going to invest, nothing. It's how many people are we going to hire? How many jobs are we going to create? And the crazy thing is 25% of my employees make over $100,000 a year. So it's an industry you can actually make quite a bit of money. So that's something that we're really proud of. Okay, so we're done with all of that. So that's the learning of the industry. That's the learning of how I did each of those things. Here are the lessons learned, okay? Because I've learned a couple. 1, being down is part of it. Don't think it's going to just be up and to the right, because it's not. I just explained that to you. If you guys look at me and they say, oh, it's easy for you to say because you've had success, that's a bunch of crap. It is so hard, and there's times that you're going to do this with your team alone, and it's normal. If you've ever felt this way during school, at work, in your career, congratulations, everyone, you're normal. Congratulations. You can clap for yourselves. You guys are all like, seriously, should I clap? You're normal if you feel this way. I want to make sure you know that, because there's a lot of anxiety and depression right now of people going, I feel this way, I'm sure that others don't. No, that's not true. I feel that way. I feel this way still. Sometimes, not right now. I'm pretty happy right now. But there's times that I feel this way. It's normal. So congratulations, you're normal. you guys ever seen this movie? Who knows this movie? It's so bright I can't see hands. What movie is it? It's A Wonderful Life. Who has not seen It's a Wonderful Life? It's always crazy to me. Look how many of you guys are missing out on life. So I know Christmas has already passed. Go watch it tonight. It'll change your life. Anyway, there's these two gentlemen right here. This is one of the greatest actors of all time, Jimmy Stewart. And who's this guy on the left right here in the movie? Do you know who that guy is on the left? Who? Clarence. And who is he? He's an angel, right? Clarence the angel. The beginning of the movie, it has this little star, and it's purportedly, it's God, right? And he's talking to this other little star, and they're both blinking when they're talking. And God says, hey, Clarence, we need to have you go down to earth, and we need you to help this guy right here. And Clarence the angel says, oh, is he sick? And do you know what his response is? If anybody knows what it is, I'll give you $1,000. I'm just kidding, I won't. What does he say back to Clarence the angel? Do you know?
No, it's worse.
What?
It's worse.
It's worse. He's what? He's discouraged. So he was discouraged. I think it's the most powerful communication or statement in the whole movie. I really do. Because he's like, oh, is he sick? No, worse, he's discouraged. I actually think that discouragement is one of the biggest plagues that we have as humans. When you get down and discouraged, down on yourself or down on others, it will literally freeze you to see anything great in your life or a path forward. So I always tell everybody in my companies, I tell anybody that I'm working with as an entrepreneur, you're going to go through this. You're going to get discouraged. And then I saw this little video, and I watched it like 20 times in a row, and I don't know why it's so funny to me. But if nobody laughs in here, we're not friends. Because this is funny stuff. But this little kid biffs it. And if it was any of us, we'd probably just roll around and like be so bummed and discouraged. Look how he decides to deal with discouragement. He's like, forget that. I mean, how many people have biffed on their bikes, got up and done that? I never did that. You like roll around like, and then you cry, and like, look at me. You guys want to see it one more time, right? Like, come on. And he even looks over at his mom or whoever and is just like, oh yeah, watch this. And he's like, that's how you want to deal with discouragement, number one. Okay, my 4 indisputable laws, no one can convince me otherwise. Sorry, but I've lived them and I've seen them work. These are the ones I want you to write down, and I'm going to be done, and we're going to open it up for questions, okay? Number 1. You can't skip steps, guys. You cannot skip steps. What I mean by that is you can't walk into Utah State, walk into Doug's office and say, Doug, can I just become a senior and not go through freshman, sophomore, and junior year, please? It's just not going to work. Why? Because even if he could do that and give you a diploma after 1 year, you're going to miss so much in your first, second, and third year here. So much. You can't skip steps. I decided not to skip steps so much that it took me 7 years to get my degree. Because I was an entrepreneur, and so I did a lot of my classes at night. That's why. But you can't skip steps. Why? Let me tell you first. Because people don't focus on this. What you need to do is focus on consistent effort, right? Rather than immediate results. You guys are all so impatient, and so am I. So I'm not going to pick on you. I want everything now. I want it done now. I want to accomplish it now. I'm human, and so are you. But I realize that when I've tried to skip steps, cut corners, go too fast, I hit a wall. So when you race a car, believe it or not, you actually race with both of your feet. Did anybody know that? You race with both feet. So when you're racing your car, you have both feet down, right? And I'm going to use this for another something too, but so when you're racing, you race with both your feet like this. If you did that on the roads out here, you'd crash into someone, just so you know, because it is a little confusing. But there's a thing that you don't understand, that when you're racing too and you're coming up on a corner, you think you're going to pull off this and you're going to be like, let's slow down and then let's turn the wheel. It's not what you do. What you do is you keep your gas down and then you slowly push the brake while my gas is down. And what it does is it plants your car So it's hugging the road even more, so that now, as I go around the corner, I can let go of the brake, and I'm already on the gas, so I speed out of the corner faster. Who knew that? Not that many people. Like 3 people. So what I want you to tell you is, you can't focus on the result thinking, I'm just going to do this, because as you hit that apex in that corner, you're going to hit a wall. Guess what? I've seen so many people do it too. Because they're focused on, I got to win. I got to get around this guy and ahead of him. They're looking for the immediate result. They hit a wall. So think about the consistent effort more than immediate results, okay? This will help you keep your eyes on the prize, or off the prize and on the process, right? So you want to be part of focusing on the process that you're in. And if you skip steps, you won't be focused on the actual process of what you're learning. You will miss so much. And guess what? I tell my boys this. They're sick of hearing it. But when they complain to me about something, I go, son, I know, Dad, I can't skip steps. I know. Like, they get it. But I am repeating that to them because they want to skip steps. All of us do. You can't. Doesn't work. Okay? 2. Sorry, guys. You're with a racer. You cannot do it alone. Everybody thinks if you're an entrepreneur, you're super smart, or you're a great business person, or you're a strong personality, you're red, you're A-type. I can do it all on my own. Well, first of all, that would be super boring. But secondly, it's impossible. Let me give you an example. So this is my Porsche. This is my 24-hour race. And you practice this. You go into the pits before you race, and your team's got to go out there and splash you with some fuel, and they got to change your 4 tires because you melt them. Well, I'm in the car taking a drink through my little hose and a little canister of water that's now like as hot as coffee water. And I'm just shutting my eyes, taking a little bit of a break because I have probably 30 seconds. So we're practicing this, right? Now I'm out for another 2 hours. I raced for another 2 hours there. I got on my radio. I'm like, guys, way to go. 31 seconds. You guys were amazing. Because we practiced that. If it took me 36 seconds, I'm 5 seconds behind the other guy that went 30 seconds in his pit. Does that make sense? So you have to race really hard to catch up. So this matters. So I'm thinking, we're the best. We're like the best team. I've got the best pit crew. And then I'm really into F1, and I go to an F1 race, and I watch their pit. What? Is that not unbelievable? Until last year, that pit was 1.88 seconds. And you watch that and you're like, how's that even possible, right? Like you just watch that and you're like, that's not even possible. You almost have to slow it down to see what everybody's doing. Because every person around that car has a job. They have a job, of a specific job. And if you slow down, you'll see what every single person's doing to make it a 1.88 second pit. So then I look at that and go, guys, we can do better. Because our pit was dang slow compared to that. But the thing that is really impressive is how many humans did that take to make that possible? 21? Any other numbers? 24. There's 23 pit crew members around that car. Who's the last one? The driver. The driver is part of it too, right? He had to make sure that he downshifted, he revved the engine, so as soon as that car hit, he was gone. He's part of the team. He's part of the crew. Could he have done that himself? No. It's not possible. So my lesson here is, it's like a symphony when you work as a team and you don't do it alone, number one. Number two, if you're the driver, if you're the leader, if you're the founder, if you're the entrepreneur, you're just a part of the overall equation. You're not the most important thing. Remember that. As I look at my team, this is just a few of them, but I look all around me and say, we have done amazing things together, not because I'm the leader or not because Shauna's the CEO, because our team is amazing, and it's like a symphony. We're orchestrated together to know what each other does, and we continue to practice over and over again. And you also need a good support system. My boys are mine. My family is, my friends are. Make sure you have a good support system. You cannot do it alone, so don't try, okay? 3, positivity breeds success. It's on walls in my office, has been forever. It absolutely works. Don't try to fight it. If you're a negative or a pessimistic person, there is room in the world for you. It's in Zimbabwe. I'm just kidding. There's a place for everybody that looks at things differently. But even if you look at things and you're like, I'm just really good at pointing out the things that aren't going to work, it's great. But then follow it up with things that will. That would change your positivity approach, right? But positivity breeds success. Amazingly, positive work environments outperform negative environments. Does that surprise anyone here? Does that surprise you? No, it doesn't to me. So positive people are able to make better decisions under pressure. That's absolutely 100% accurate. If you're already down, if you're frustrated, whatever, you don't make good decisions. You never do in life. Positive people have more friends that enhance self-worth. It's 100% accurate. Positive people are less stressed. It's absolutely accurate. When I'm positive, even though I am stressed, I'm less stressed. That doesn't mean you're not going to feel stress. You'll be less stressed. But the last one that's the most important about positivity breeding success in an organization for you and your life, your career, schooling, everything, friendships, positive people are just way more fun to be with. Are they not? Who likes to be around negative people in here? Well, nobody raised their hand. So either you're scared to say yes or it just doesn't happen. It's just more fun to be around fun, positive people, right? I see this dude, it's actually one that my daughter-in-law showed me. She's like, this reminds me of you, Dad, because I can dance okay. I mean, I'm from Chicago. I did like breakdancing and stuff. But I see this dude, this video, and when you watch it, tell me you don't want to, like if you were to dance, or if you're just out at a club, and you saw this guy dancing, you would not go out and dance with him. Would you not dance with that guy? Look how fun he's having. Like you're even bobbing your head already, right? Like you're feeling it. And so does that lady. She goes out there and she's like, I'm going to dance with this guy, right? Come on, the more you watch it, you can't stop watching it, right? Like his glasses are dope. I want a pair of those. But he realizes he's being recorded and he's like, what's up? At the end of the day, you want to be that guy. Well, not that guy, but you want to be that person, right? You want to be a magnet for people and show positivity, okay? Last, money cannot be the number one motivator, and then we're done here. I got to be honest with you guys. I am so frustrated every time I see this stuff going around in socials. I see it in Inc. magazine, Entrepreneurship magazine, or Entrepreneur magazine. I see it in Forbes. I see these stupid statements like money is the motivator, and success, produces success. And what is the other one? Money is the motivation, and get your money up, and money is my motivation. All this stupid crap about money, and look at all this wealth and stuff, right? I'm sorry to tell you guys, it cannot be the number one motivator. Let me tell you why. I remember when I was a younger kid, I had this poster on my wall, and it's a Ferrari 360 Modena. People call it Modena. But I remember always thinking, one day in my life, I'm going to own that car. I'm so stoked. I can't wait. And I remember getting my first check where I'm like, I actually have some wealth, and I can now go buy that car. And so I bought that car. And I'm in that car the first time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally have arrived. Like, all of my dreams come true. I'm in my first Ferrari. And of course, because I grew up in the 80s and 90s, I had to put on my best song. So I'm driving the car, listen to a little bit of Beastie Boys, because Beastie Boys is the coolest band alive. And so I'm listening to Paul Revere. I remember driving this car listening to this song. It's cool, huh? The crazy thing, not the quart of beer part, but the bottom line is, cool song. So I'm driving it along, and the first day I got home, put it in the garage, kind of sat there and looked at it in the garage. I'm like, I'm so cool. Next day I wake up, go out and get in it, start driving it around. I'm like, this is pretty cool. And then the third day I'm driving it around, I'm like, this is cool. And after about a week and a half to 2 weeks of driving that car around, I literally got to the end of that 2 weeks. I remember 2 weeks. I was walking out of my garage. I saw it. I also had a truck. And I'm like, I'm just going to go jump in my truck and go to work. And I went to work. And it was over. It was over after 2 decades of wanting that car in 2 weeks for me. It was that anticlimactic. So the thing I want to tell you is that there's this excitement that we have, and that's called the journey. And then you reach the top of that, and you have this euphoria, and you buy your car, and you spend your money and whatever, and you're like, my life is made. Then you become complacent, and you're like, oh man, well, now what am I going to do with my life? I got to go do something else. Some people don't, some people do, but you have this anxiety of what you do with your life. And you kind of fall into a little bit of depression of like, I got to do something more with my life. And you kind of hit this bottom. And now you're angry. It's like, I have nothing to do. And then you get back on this journey of building something, working with people, doing something more with your life. Because you want to be back to this euphoria and optimism that you once had, right? So my reason of showing you all that crap earlier is all of that stuff is fun. It's not necessary, and it does not bring your happiness. And it's not the motivation for me anymore. Now that I've gone through it, I hope that I've made an impression on you to say, don't make that the motivation. My final thoughts. Write these down, because these will help you in your career, I promise. If you didn't write those down, those are my final thoughts, right? Okay? What's your next play? That's my challenge to you guys. Think about what your next play is in your career, at school, in your life, in your relationships. What's your next play? And if it's my next play, I'm going to be this guy. Thanks.
Okay, hey, thank you so much, Andrew. Okay, we have time for 3 questions. And Andrew, I'll let you choose who.
Part of being an entrepreneur is to raise your hand even when you don't think you should. Go for it.
I'm interested in the tech space, but I'm kind of wondering, what would you focus on if you're trying to create a product that has value, but you can't decide on an idea?
Yeah, it's a good question. My answer to all of that is always product market fit, and do people want it? If you don't want it, no one else is going to want it. If you talk to these 20 people right here and 3 of those 20 people don't want it, don't waste your time. That's as easy as it is tech. The other thing is it's got to have something that's staying power, right? It can't be something that solves a problem for the next 6 months. The thing with tech is it's changing so fast. Be careful with tech. By the way, I still love tech. I've invested into a lot of tech. Still have invested in tech. I think it's great, but just make sure that you test it a ton. The idea of it. Don't even spend money on developing it. Come up with a prototype like, does this solve your problem? And you get 80% product market fit where people are saying, yeah, that would be dope, then go down that road. But it could be 25 ideas and you still don't have it. It'd be maybe the number 99. So keep trying.
What would you say your motivation is?
Motivation for me right now, because I could be done tomorrow, is create as many jobs as I can and create a wholesome environment for people to actually find who they are to be successful in their life. You think I've said that before? That's my motivation.
Yeah, you talked about how important like, a team was the whole time. I guess what's your advice for like developing that team around you, and like how do you know like those people are going to be like what it's going to be?
It's a great question. He said, build a team around you. How do you know if they're ready to, right? If they're ready to do more, if they're the right team or whatever. Don't come work for me ever if you don't want me to do this to you, but I put them out on the plank and I push them right off into the deep end. When you see how they swim, or if they just give up and drown, then you'll know. You really can't tell until someone has the chance to prove themselves for themselves, right? I give people 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 attempts and tries as long as I see them trying. If they give up on the first attempt and they fall apart for it, they're not the right person around me. I think if people are trying, I'm going to keep on giving them chances. And usually they'll rise to the occasion. They'll just keep on rising to the occasion. So give your team around you as many chances to do things that you usually do. Let them do it. I tell my team around me right now, 85% is the new 100. If you're growing a business, no one's going to be 100% perfect. 85% is the new 100. Be okay with 85%. And they're like, well, no. I mean, what about the 15%? You're not going to grow a business if you focus on 100%ers. They don't exist. I'm not a 100%er. We're going to break the rules. Number 4.
What is things that you've done consistently for as long as you remember that made all the difference? Whether that's like waking up at a certain time, just what builds consistency.
That's a really good question. I would say consistently, because my career has been so different, the thing I would say consistently is keep grounded with what things actually matter the most, because I get distracted, just like anybody else. But I said it a little earlier to some of you that had dinner with me, don't look side to side. When I say that, don't look at everybody around you and what they're doing and then start having anxiety of what they're doing and you're not doing as good a job. Just focus on your path. Don't look around you. That's number one. 2, stay grounded. I am a God-fearing man. You have to have a purpose. Does not matter who's part of what religion. Have a purpose that's greater than yourself. That's probably the things that I've always had core to me, and it matters more to me than anything. What was your follow-up?
So you have like a purpose that you may like think about daily, something you've written out, and then you have like a vision board that you're looking at. What do you do to like?
It's good. So I don't have vision boards and I don't write down daily because some people have to have that. It's not for me. I have my North Stars. So I look at this business or this person even, and I say, my North Star in 3 years is this. This is what I want to happen. What do I have to do as I back down to today? What are all of those steps along the way to get to that North Star? As I'm going along, I manage to, are we on or off? How far are we off? What can I do to get back on track to get to that North Star? So I think longer term, I think daily stuff is good, but it's too immediate, where you have to have a long-term goal. So have a long-term goal and then work back till today is my advice.
You said when you need to work together, do you wait for people to approach you to work, or do you go find people to work?
I talk to everybody. I look for talent everywhere. I tell people I have something for you, or what you should do is this, or even businesses that I'm not involved in. I'll say, what you should do is you should go work for this company because that company's blown up and you'll learn a lot if you go there. So I look for talent everywhere and people come to me all the time and I hire most of them. So.
Do you have any advice on asking people for things? Because I have a hard time, like my grandma offered to buy my gas the other week, and I didn't want to she forgot about it.
Pass for skiing?
Ask for things.
Oh, ask for things, yeah.
How do you ask someone for a favor?
Yeah, if you don't ask, you're never going to know how people respond, right? So that's a fear that you have. You got to get past the fear to say, the more I ask, the more that I'm going to realize that that's just part of it. I ask people for stuff all the time. But I reciprocate. I ask you to help me with this? Now what can I do for you? I always do that. That's how you get past that. I need this. Can you help me? What can I do for you? And even if you can't do anything for me, I appreciate that you asked me. So now I want to help you. Does that make sense?
So when you spoke earlier when you were in tech, how you had a couple friends, the more techy guys that almost followed you around. I feel like I fall more into that category. What advice do you have for people like us who may not be leading but are the tech behind the scenes kind of people?
Yeah, the world exists only with those guys coming together, right? Guys, girls, what it doesn't matter. You have to come together. They need you and you need them. So you bring them your skill set and say, I need your skill set, prop them up, they'll prop you up, and it's going to be a good relationship. For me, I could never have done what I did in tech unless I had my tech guys behind me because I didn't know how to write code. I had no idea how to write code or build any of it. I had the idea, right? So you need each other. Make sure that you propose yourself that way. Did you have a question? I guess one more, right? I don't know. One more? Oh, they're saying keep going. Everybody answer question. We'll be here until 11. Let's go. Best piece of advice that I've ever received? Boy, I don't have a lot of mentors. Let me think about people that have... So I was in Chicago. I worked at this dope company called Sears and Roebuck in Chicago. That was before Amazon took them out. But I was working there and I knew the president of the company. It was a multi-billion-dollar company, had shopping centers everywhere. And I was sitting with him one time, and it was advice, but it was actually an image. And he gave me a painting as I was coming out to school my freshman year, because he knew my family. And it was a painting, I wish I had it, but it was a painting of the Son of Man. It's the guy with the baller cap on, he's in a suit, and he's got a green apple in his face. Do you guys know that picture? You look it up, it's called Son of Man. It's by Rene Marguerite. I still have that painting today, 35 years later. It's on my wall in my office, the one that he gave me. And he said, Andrew, I want to give you this picture. I'm like, cool, businessman with a green apple on his face. Thank you. And he's like, no. What do you think the apple represents? And I just said, I don't know, piece of fruit? I mean, I was young, I didn't know. And he said, no, the apple represents greed, money, envy, fame, all of those things. And if you focus too close to it, it's going to blind you from all the other beautiful things in the world, because it's actually meant to do that, if you focus on those things. Don't focus on that. Focus on the beautiful things in the journey, not on the apple. That was the best advice I'd ever received. Any other questions? Back in the back.
You mentioned that you do not like code or things like that. If you're, say, trying to start an app or something like that, and you don't know how to write code, but you also don't know how to pay people to write code, is it reasonable to expect them to like go off on a limb with you and try out this idea?
Not only reasonable, that's how you do it. What I would say is go to the, what is it, social? The social thing. Go to the social thing. Walk around and say, do you write code? Do you write code? Do you write code? Sweet, I got this idea. Do you want to write the code? And we're going to be partners, and you're going to be 50, I'm going to be 50. That's how it starts. And then you're a multimillionaire. Next.
When you're running like large franchises, I know that they run heavily on systems. That's kind of a hinge point of being successful in a franchise. So what are some things you prioritize when you set and implementing systems in those franchises?
We prioritize the things that the customers are going to experience the most. Because really, we're only in business because of a client. It doesn't matter if you're in tech, if you're in food and beverage, industrial, CPG. It doesn't matter what you're involved in. You're solving a problem for your end user, your client. So when you implement systems, you say, what's going to matter to the client first, not to the back office, accounting, and like reporting or whatever. You're not going to report a dang thing if you don't have a customer happy. So you implement systems that are going to solve the consumer problem first and then go backwards.
How do you manage the stress of risking millions of dollars with investors giving you the money?
That's a great question. Like, I already knew where you were going with that. How do you manage the stress? You just watch stuff like that and just think, it's going to be just fine. Or if I lose their money, I just go do a dance like that in front of them. They don't like that. Let me tell you the difference between someone that's an investor and an allocator and then someone that is also an entrepreneur business person. An investor that is a good investor says, I'm going to make a calculated risk and do the best I can, and if we lose, we lose. But unless we make that calculated investment and decision, we'll not know, right? So there's a lot of people in a company that are like, I could never make, you know who can't make that decision is Shauna, my wife. She'll be like, I can't even breathe because you just put $20 million into that. I'm like, yeah, I think it's going to work. She goes, you think? It's like, yeah, I mean, we won't know unless we try it. And then sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But as long as you make it work more times than not, you'll be fine. So you just try it. You just got to have you have to have the gumption to just risk things. One more question.
Did you always want to be an entrepreneur, or did you have other like in high school, like did you have a career in mind you wanted to do that was happen, or was this like a dream you had?
Yeah, I mean, in high school, I'm 6'4.5", and so I was like, I'm going to be that next Michael Jordan. And then my senior year, I went into basketball practice, and I was like, to all these guys around me, I'm just like, I'm short, and I'm not very good. So that blew that up. I came out to school thinking that I was going to be in finance, like maybe a banker, or just work for a company on their finance team. And then opportunities unfolded in front of me, and I'm like, I think I could do this. So no, I didn't think I went into any of that stuff with a plan. The opportunities presented themselves, and I dove head first. So what I would tell all of you guys is, I said it earlier, just be learn-it-alls. You guys being here is the first step. Being part of the entrepreneurship program, important. Does not matter if you're going to be an entrepreneur or not. It's learning and putting yourself in these situations, and you talking to this guy and this guy talking to that girl, and you guys talking together, that's where the ideas come, where you go, I think I know what I want to do now, and I'm really excited about this. Don't sit down and try to write it all out saying this is exactly what I'm going to do, because I guarantee you your life's not going to go that way. So just be open to it all. Guys, thank you. Good to see you.